Drive and Live. Buy original, be original. SON.
It's an all-important material needed by everyone used for the transmission of electrical power. I'm talking about the power cable in my house, in your house, your offices, schools, hospitals, cinemas, church, and mosque. There is hardly any building in the country where people reside, work, or conduct any human activity that you won't find the power cable used for the provision of electrical power supply. Did you know that the wrong usage, careless or improper handling of this life danger product could lead to death? We will tell you all you need to know about the power cable. What is unique about the Standards Organization of Nigeria's Amendment Act No. 14 of 2015? There's a special focus on that act on the program. A warm welcome to Standard and You, Nigeria's foremost television program on product safety and quality. It's always my pleasure to bring the program to you. My name is Ifoma Okonkwo. I'll be back after this message.
The Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, brings a new lease of life to Nigeria SMEs. SON has put a greater premium on developing standards to improve made in Nigeria products for export. We have developed more standards for products like sesame, cocoa, gari, and more, courtesy of our accredited state-of-the-art laboratories. In keeping with the federal government's ease of doing business, SON has simplified its processes and turned around time for SUNCAP, MANCAP, and other certification processes. SON has intensified market surveillance, raids, and seizures to reduce substandard products in circulation, and offenders shall be prosecuted. Join SON in ridding our nation of substandard products. If you see something, say something. Standards Organization of Nigeria, improving lives through standards.
Welcome back and thanks for joining us. How many of you watching or listening to the program are sure of the quality of the power cable used to provide light where you live or work? I am sure some of us, especially property owners, are beginning to do some mind searching. Most of us are guilty of not ascertaining the quality, proper specification, and proper installation of the power cables. Here is what you should know about the cable, what the Standards Organization of Nigeria is doing to check the distribution of substandard cables, and impact of the prevalence of substandard cables on the economy. Please take a look. Power cables are means through which we get electricity delivered to our homes, hospitals, schools, offices, industries, and all establishments where power is needed. Cables are essentially copper or aluminum conductors. These power cables are insulated to avoid endangering the lives of consumers because of the current or electricity the cables carry. Cable has a limit to the amount of current it can carry.
Each of the cables too have what we call cross-section. Okay? Every cross-section is predetermined has a limit to the amount of current it should carry. For example, when you say 2.5 mm squared, okay, 4 mm squared, 6 mm squared, and so on and so forth, each of these cables have limited amount of current they can carry to avoid endangering the lives of properties and human beings. But unfortunately, many of the users do not know about these limitations. And some of the so-called, let me say, people who use these cables, they don't know the limit of each of them and as to what limit you can use them. So when you use them in the wrong way, you endanger the life of the persons in that vicinity as well as the properties.
These electrical cables differ in configuration, size, and performance.
For most projects, I mean, the one that I know, there are specifications. There are consultants, there are engineers to what have specified the type, size, and everything required for a particular project. Therefore, if you are involved in such project and you don't meet the specification of the cable to be used, definitely nobody will pass it. But you know that how many of the construction or installation that involve professional in Nigeria? Not all. I think that is where you have the problem. When it is involved professional, there are specifications you need to meet. We look at the low demand of a particular project that will determine the size and the type of cable to be used. We look at how are we making the transmission. It is underground, it is overhead. All this will determine the kind of specification to be made for a particular project. But how many projects involve professional? We know that I don't want to keep on making figures that cannot be substantiated, but we know that if you look at the kind of building all over the country that are going on, you know that most of it, the one going on in my village, for example, how many engineers are involved? People just go to the open market and say, how much is your cable? Per 100. Mine is 2,000. How much is your own? Mine is 500 naira. This one is cheaper. Then you go for the cheapest one. They don't have specification for it, and that is why we have problem.
The installation of this all-important product should be done only by an expert and not just anybody. Sadly, experts in the industry say most owners of properties and developers simply opt for the services of quacks who have little or no knowledge on the types of quality of power cables.
And people keep on wondering, markets burning down, what could have been the cause? If you find out a great majority, from my experience when I was in the Mines and Power, when we were inspecting the causes of accident and fire incident, we discovered that essentially they are electricity related. And it's either the cables have been overused, which means they have passed the limit of the current they're supposed to carry. So when they carry the current they're supposed to carry, the insulation will break down. When the insulation breaks down, you have problems of fire incidents. That's one cause of fire incidents. Another cause is even the switchgear that you use along to. If you do not have them functioning the way they are supposed to function, or have the right protective device to protect these cables, again, you have problem of danger. Because for every cross-section of cable, there are defined rating of circuit breakers or fusing elements to make sure that power is cut before the cables are damaged.
The influx of substandard power cables into the country has remained a source of worry to consumers, local manufacturers, stakeholders in the industry, and the Standards Organization of Nigeria. These fake and substandard products are of various brands and sizes and are considered cheap.
There's what we call pre-commissioning tests. Even when you are, let's say pre-buying or when buying, there are some tests, we call it pressure testing. You have to pressure test the cable to make sure that that cable can withstand the current and the insulation level they are designed and produced for. If they fail at that stage, then you don't use that kind of cable. But a lot of people don't even bother to test. That's stage one testing. When you get to the site, when you have also installed these cables and the electrical equipment, you have to do what is also called pre-commissioning test. That's second stage. Pre-commissioning test now means when you have put all the electrical cables together, the distribution boards, the protective devices, the switch gears, as a system, you still need to test them together. You need to inject certain currents into them before people start using them to make sure and ensure that the cables can withstand the amount of current you have injected into them. Even you have to simulate tripping. That is, look, if this cable carries current up to this level, it must cut off instead of endangering the lives of properties and human beings.
The SON has made significant investment in both human and infrastructural development over the years to check the distribution of substandard power cables in Nigeria, which has led to large seizures.
The battle to rid Nigeria of substandard cables is an ongoing battle, which we are fighting with the Cable Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. They saw their brands being threatened, they came to us, and we've been able to arrest the situation. And we'll keep on doing that. We must discourage anybody that wants to take advantage of our attempt to create an enabling environment for ease of doing business, from bringing in unwholesome products to Nigeria. Our cables, I'll make boldly to say, are the best in Africa. We export them. They are safe to use. Anyone that does not comply with our MANCAP certification is therefore not certified by us.
Most of the seized substandard power cables are not foreign brands. They are selling popular local manufactured cables that are being cloned outside Nigeria and brought back to be sold in the country.
This is cable metal.
I've seen it.
It's cable metal. It is cable metal. NISF did it.
Yes. Can you imagine? Another offense. Double offense.
This ugly development, no doubt, has continued to take its toll on operators in the country, with capacity utilization at a little above 40%.
Currently, we are about 40%, 40-45%, because of our low patronage and then the fake products that are still finding its way into the market.
It's common knowledge today that power cables made in Nigeria are of good quality and the best when compared with those imported into Nigeria.
And today, in terms of tonnage, is over 4 million tons. So, and our capacity is over 4 million tons. The standard is set in a way that we have taken fluctuation of electricity supply in the country into account. And that's why that standard differs from the standard of other places. And that's why also the effectiveness of reliability of local limit cables are much, much better, because then it can stand fluctuations, because it's already taken into account.
To anybody that wants to copy any successful brand in Nigeria, not only will we prosecute and allow the law to take its course, we will find them. We must discourage them. So the general public will please work with SON.
The Standards Organization of Nigeria wants you to do the following before you purchase the power cable. 1. Ensure that the power cable you are buying is registered with the Standards Organization of Nigeria. 2. Ensure that the installation of the cable is done by only a professional. 3. Report anyone you suspect deals on substandard cables to the Standards Organization of Nigeria.
Muna fata shekaru na da za su zo, mutanenmu za su yi la'akari da aikin da muke yi, kuma za su lura cewa ya fi cancanta ka sai abu na kwarai da ka sai abu na arha.
Ka yi meze n'obodo anyị a, ka yi mee ka ihe a na-eme n'obodo anyị a, ma ihe a na-ebubata n'obodo anyị a ọ dị mma. Anyị na-ayọ biko ka anyị jikọọ aka, na asị na ofu aka adịghị ekechi ngwugwu. Ka anyị jikọọ aka ka Nigeria wee wọrọ anyị obodo.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká lajú wálẹ̀, gbogbo tá a bá máa fún wa rà, ká lè pé o tó pé ojú òṣùwọ̀n. Èyí tí ò bá yé wa, àgbẹ̀ tó bá mọ̀ ń pa ẹ̀, ẹ tó wà sọ́nà. Èyí tá a bá dẹ̀ rà tí ò bá pójú òṣùwọ̀n, ẹ lọ sí Standard Organization of Nigeria. Iṣẹ́ rẹ̀ tó bá súnmọ́ yín jù, ẹ lọ ṣàlàyé fún wọn bẹ́ẹ̀, wọ́n á ràn yín lọ́wọ́.
Welcome to the world of standard and quality, where we offer you information on product safety and quality. The program is Standard and You.
Choose life and live. Buy original. Be original. SON.
You're watching watching Standard and You on Africa's largest television network. It comes to you this time on this station at 6:30 p.m. on Mondays. There's been series of sensitization on the amendment SON Act number 14 of 2015. The objective is to acquaint Nigerians and stakeholders on the provision of the Act. Our next report examines the reviewed laws of the agency with special focus on why it has become imperative to amend the Act and its benefits to Nigerians.
Like any other government regulatory agency, the Standards Organization of Nigeria was established by law. This law gives the agency statutory powers to provide certain services on behalf of government to the people. SON Act was introduced in 1971, and by 1976 there was a specific amendment to empower the agency's supervisory minister to change a voluntary standard into a mandatory one based on technical regulation. There was a fairly robust amendment in 1990 to confer on the SON in the Office of the Director General specific responsibilities and also generally improve the legal status of Standards Organization of Nigeria. Until 2015, there were certain provisions in the SON Act that were no longer consistent with the present reality that needed to be amended.
We had a number of threats from legal practitioners who realized the lacuna in the law and said we could actually not do what we were doing in terms of asking for fees and fines with respect to SONCAP and MANCAP. That problem has been solved by the 2015 Act. Another area that is quite important for an organization like SON is in terms of enforcement. Before the 2015 Act, whenever we had reason to proceed against non-compliant persons, we were required to go to the magistrate court to obtain an order. But today, the law, realizing the dynamic nature of the society, has empowered the organization to proceed in a very proactive manner whenever it discovers any person dealing with non-compliant products, by giving the organization the power to seize and detain those products for a window of 90 days, which in my opinion is sufficient to allow for confirmatory tests with respect to those products. So this in no way, this no doubt, is a potent weapon in the hands of the organization to ensure that substandard products are immediately removed from the marketplace wherever they are found. I also like to speak in terms of prosecution, because when you seize the product, the natural course of event is to prosecute. Until 2015, legal practitioners in the organization were not clothed with the authority to prosecute, but the Act has sufficiently provided for authority now to all lawyers in the organization to initiate and defend action, either instituted by the organization or against the organization. I'm pleased to say that this provision has been activated in several instances. If you look at the record, you will have been able to discover that a lot of cases have been instituted by lawyers in the organization. This has helped to also reduce finances in terms of farming out cases to outside solicitors. And we're also building capacity by allowing in-house lawyers to practice the profession that they've chosen for themselves. So this is quite important.
To ensure that Nigerians understand and appreciate the dynamics and benefits of the amended Act, the Standards Organization of Nigeria has conducted several sensitization across the country. At every fora, officials of the SON provide insights into the amended Act.
The Act sets out to sanitize the nation's industrial, commercial, business and market space of substandard products. It is in tandem with the economic diversification, economic growth and recovery, industrial revolution program of the present federal government. Therefore, using the instrumentality of the Act, Nigeria should be able to attain industrial growth through standardization, quality assurance, and control, as well as monitoring and compliance. The Act also stresses the need for all stakeholders to be involved and carried along in its implementation.
Stakeholders from the various sectors of the Nigerian economy have described the act as one that will help the SON improve on its service delivery and, more importantly, tackle the menace of fake and substandard products in Nigeria.
I think in the area of penalty, using 1 million, 2 million, I think the society is far too. They have a commit to the society. I think we should try as much as possible to raise that to about 5 million. They will know that Nigeria is not a safe haven for bad unethical practices, So that area, we should try as much as possible. I want the representative of standardization here to note that you can still review it, because what's the essence of the law you reviewed, yet you can't get the result you intend.
You need this kind of review of the legislation to further strengthen the effectiveness of SON. Capacity enhancement in the area of the sanctions, for instance. Capacity enhancement in the area of revenue generation on their own. Then the obsolescence of the law. I mean, the law is now more consistent with current realities. That is very good. So I believe that will help to support and sanitize the environment.
Faithful and consistent application of the provisions of the law. The work of SON will be enhanced, the quality of life of our people will be improved, and the economy of Nigeria will be more robust. But it requires the input of all, because it's one thing to have the law, it's another thing to have people abide by the law. Implementation of laws are always difficult because it's not a one-way traffic. As much as we have the passion and the desire to have the law implemented, it will also require the input of people outside the organization.
Barrister Kawu says the SON will continue to come up with innovative and effective approach to deliver its mandates in the overall interest of all.
The act alone is not sufficient. We still need better funding, because we are talking of a country of 190 million people. It's a very vast country. So goods come in from all manner of places. And you need heavy investment in logistics, heavy investment in intelligence, and heavy investment in enforcement. All these things are very key to ensuring that we achieve the kind of result that we expect from the SON.
This is Standard and You, the authoritative platform on television where you get to know more about product quality and safety. Feedback is next on our lineup, and Alimoto Sifo is standing by.
Choose live and live. Buy original. Be original. SON.
Thank you, Ifoma, and welcome to the feedback segment of the program. We'd like to let you know that your messages or comments on the program is key and critical to our quest to serve you better. One of the cardinal objectives of the program is to provide you, our esteemed viewers, with basic information on product quality and safety. Our success as a responsive organization is determined by how much impact our services have had and will continue to have on consumers and manufacturers of products. We have resolved at the SON to promote quality and will stop at nothing to check in the manufacturing, distribution and importation of fake and substandard products into Nigeria. Our expectation is that you will continue to work with us by providing SON with information that will help us serve you better. And more importantly, facilitate growth of local industries, especially small and medium enterprises, SMEs, considered to be the engine of growth of any economy. So, stop lamenting over a product you have found to be fake or substandard. Reach out to us now with enough information and evidence. Let's help you get value for your money. Our first message here is from Chukudi from Ajegunle. It says, those that deal in tires and other auto parts should be educated on the approved standards so they can know what is right and what is wrong before a raid. Usually, the Standards Organization of Nigeria organizes different sensitization programs for stakeholders to educate them on the approved standards and the need to comply. Agbola from Benin says, Please, where is your office in Lagos? All right, Lagos operational headquarters is at 1314 Victoria Arubeke Street off Admiralty Way, Lekki Phase 1, Lagos. Yusuf from Abuja says, I want to bring to your notice that most of the shops in Wuse Markets, Abuja, have fake products in them, especially wine and beverages. Yusuf, your complaint has been forwarded to the FCT office. They take it up from there. Rashid Amenesi from Calabar says, do you have an office in Calabar? Sure. Cross River State office is at 10 Bishop Moinang Avenue, State Housing Estate, Calabar. Otun Gabriel from Osun State says, I fell victim of expired tires sold in Ajegule Market in Osogbo. Gabriel, usually tires have expiry dates, so you should always check the date of manufacture, which is the 4 digits you have on your tire. You add 4 years to that, and that's where you get your expiry date. John Wilson from Delta says, please, do you have an office in Delta State? Our office in Delta State is at 19 High Coast Road off Okpanam Road, Asaba. Anonymous Messenger says, I really like your program. May God help you more. Amen. Thank you so much. And that's the much we can take on the feedback segment of the program. For any question, complaints, or suggestion, you can call us or send in your messages to the number 0705-972-4455. You can also follow us on any of our social media handles on Facebook at Standard and You, Instagram and Twitter at Standard and You _. You can also send a mail to the address, thestandardandyou@gmail.com. Don't forget, we have a vibrant YouTube channel where you can watch all episodes so far at youtube.com/Standard and You. Don't just view, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Enjoy the rest of the week.